Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. Tonight, we're not just going to be doing whiskey. Actually, we're not going to be doing whiskey at all, really. We're going to be talking with Greta and Tim Wright from Wise Bird Cider Company. Fantastic stuff. So, trying to explore a little bit into something different. And one of those something differents is cider. And it's been fun to learn about this so far. And if you're a craft whiskey fan, I think you're going to really appreciate the level of detail and commitment to authenticity and the history of the whole thing that the Wrights bring to their cider. So you'll get to hear from them in just a minute. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who produce content for the whiskey enthusiast. We have shows like Distillers Talk with Alan Bishop, Christy Atkinson. Alan and Christy talk with distillers from across the country and around the world about anything and everything in terms of distillation. Alan also has a show, One Piece at a Time, Distilling Institute. You got a question about something that you're distilling, running into a problem, ask Alan. He can give you an answer. Speaking of answers, and Alan and Kim were looking for them and maybe providing them in some ways. If you have ghosts, you have everything. You need to check out this show. It gets into everything from the paranormal to the unusual to the spiritual. You need to check it out. It's always entertaining. Speaking of entertaining, say hello to Pat, Mike, and Mitch at My Whiskey Den. My Whiskey Den is where craft whiskey is king. Be sure to check these guys out every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. It's always a good time. They have some wonderful tastings, some super guests, and it's fun to hang with the folks in the chat. David Levine runs Whiskey in My Wedding Ring, and David does a fantastic job with his interviews of distillers on his podcast. He also has a blog where he posts some excellent and very useful reviews of whiskeys that you may want to try. As for our show, you can watch us right now on YouTube. And if you are, would love for you to hit the subscribe button so you can join us each and every week. We are also available on podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, in case you don't want to see this lovely face. All right. Enough of all of this. Let's get into my conversation with Tim and Greta Wright of Wise Bird Cider Company. Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey, and tonight, the love of cider. I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've been dipping my toes in the water, not dipping my toes in the cider. That'd be gross, but dipping my toes in the water of cider, and had the great experience of going to Wise Bird Cider Company in Lexington, Kentucky. I don't know, about 6 weeks ago. I got a chance to meet Greta Wright, who was there that day, and her husband Tim was not, but I got a chance to meet him just a few minutes ago. And so we're going to get to talk with Greta and Tim about their background, their history, their cider, and their music. So without further ado, welcome to Bourbon Turntable, Tim and Greta.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It was a pleasure to have you and your friends at the cidery. It was a fun day.
I'll tell you, I've done lots of distillery tours and winery tours. This was my first cider tour, and the quality of the experience was unparalleled.
Oh, good.
Because you had people involved with the tour and involved with the tasting that knew their stuff, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times you go on these bourbon tours and they have somebody that's an intern from, Eastern Kentucky University or something, and they don't, not their fault. They just don't know anything.
So Kevin you got to tour with Kel, our head cider maker.
Yes.
I think you also met Abby, our general manager, and I know that Jeffrey did your tasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got me in the middle and spinning and a little bit all over the place.
I think when we walked in, you greeted us.
Yeah.
And hey, we're here for a tour. And I'd coordinated that with Abby, the general manager, and Abby set us up with Kel, and Kel was wonderful and patient. And one of the first things she told us was, please ask questions. I love it when people ask questions. And, 30 minutes later, she's standing in the same spot. We're still asking questions.
Yeah.
So, it's like, you got to know your audience.
That's right. But she was fantastic. And so was Jeffrey giving us the tasting. I think there were 13 ciders available for tasting that day. And we tried 11.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we kind of came away with was, I don't feel just super buzzed or anything like that, because you're not dealing with the same level of proof that you would be with a whiskey, but didn't feel stuffed.
Yeah.
It was very, very pleasant experience. But we'll get more into the cider side of things. So before we do that, let's get to know you all a little bit as well. Now, I don't believe that you are originally from Kentucky. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So what is home?
Well, home is Kentucky for us now. We have we moved here because my sister and her husband at the time were here, and then my mom followed suit. My father, we lured Tim's sister out, and her whole family. We're working on the rest of them, so we truly feel like this is home. And but originally, I am from Georgia. I'm Atlanta, Georgia, and we were living in Washington, D.C.
And I grew up in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
We're not strangers to the southern side of Kentucky.
Yeah. I know there's always this debate.
You could be Western depending on where you are. We're on the southern side.
Yeah. So how did you meet then? You said you were in DC?
That's a great question. We originally we were just related.
Yeah, we used to be related.
And then we got married.
Yep.
Well, welcome to Kentucky.
We're from the South.
That's right. No, Greta was, we met, I was a very eligible bachelor, had finished grad school, and like you do when you're unemployed and don't have a job, you move back home to live with your parents. And so I'm in my early 30s living with my parents, and my cousin, who has been married to Hannah for 10 years at that point, basically I was hanging out with my aunt and uncle, and they said to me, "Hey, Hannah's sister is inviting us to dinner." And I'm like, Hannah has a sister?
But we've been going to all the same parties for a decade and never.
There's a Woody Allen movie.
I know.
For a decade. Yeah, we're at the same Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday parties. I'm coming in the front door and getting together with my cousin and some of my other family members, and we're a musical family, so we're playing music. And and Greta's leaving out the back door, going out, causing ruckus with her sister.
Well, Hannah and I grew up listening to bluegrass music and country music because our stepfather was a musician, and we would go to all of these music parties. And so whenever the family got together, we took it upon ourselves to say, we have heard this before. We're going to just spend some sister time together. So we never actually met during any of these, like this 10 years worth of parties. I just heard about them.
Until we did meet. And then, and Greta was living in Charlottesville, Virginia. Yeah. So you mentioned that you've been to some cideries over there in Virginia, but that was how we kind of fell in love with this idea of cider. Was as we fell in love with one another, part of that courtship, we were going and visiting all of these cideries and wineries, breweries and distilleries in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And this is where we really discovered this love for, this fine style, traditional style or wine style of cider.
Well, we met a lot of people who were crafting it in a way that really appealed to us. They were really into it. You know, they were caring about the apples. They cared about the taste and the flavor. They were obsessing about the details. And I think both of us were and had been in jobs that, you know, where you don't necessarily see a finished product. You see things along the way, but there's nothing that tangible. And it was cool to, you know, go out and explore the making of something from start to finish and then drink it. Yeah. And here we go. This is offspring number 1.
Hey.
This is Noah.
Yeah, we're
good night.
Noah.
Give me a hug. Say good night.
Love you.
Love you.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Close that door, please. All the way. Cut that out in post.
No, it's fine. Your courtship was basically centered around visits to cideries and wineries and distilleries in Central Virginia. It sounds like.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And then we fast forward. We finally got married, and Tim brewed beer one time. Mm-hmm. And only one person in this room drinks beer, and it's not me. I mean, I'll drink a beer if I'm fishing or something.
She's like, if you're going to make 5 gallons
of something.
It's something I'm going to drink.
Yeah.
And how long had you been married at this point then?
Like maybe 6 months. I don't know.
Okay. And so this...
we might not have even been married at that time. We were just probably living in sin together. Okay. But he took over my kitchen. First, he took over downstairs, and then it moved up. Well, that's actually when we switched over to cider. Downstairs was beer, and the cider was so good, I allowed it to come upstairs, and then it was everywhere. You know, we'd have to find a cool spot for it to ferment. We were going to get cider-specific juice in different places.
Yeah. And that was really my journey with cider, was all about the apple. I mean, what I was like became really fascinated with was, you know, that there's this great diversity of apple varietals out there, and they're not all made equal. And some of them are really great for making cider, others are not. But if you make cider from the right apples that have the right balance of tannin and acid and sugar, you can make a really phenomenal cider without the need to, 1, make it unnecessarily sweet, or 2, add other non-apple fruit flavors to it to give it some sort of character.
Yeah.
If you use the right apple, it's like making grape wine. You know, you don't make grape wine from grapes you buy in Kroger. You want your wine made from grapes, specific varietals grown in specific regions with specific growing practices.
Right.
For that end goal.
So we make cider like a winemaker makes wine. We pay attention to the type of apple, the varietal. We pay attention to everything.
Who's growing it and how they're growing it.
What the season has been like before.
Yeah.
The terroir matters.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get into that in just a second. But we've 10 minutes into this, and we haven't had anything to drink yet. So the first thing I'm going to drink is this Weisberg Commonwealth Gold. And one of the things, I don't know if you can see it on there, it's got a little spectrum that shows the dry to the sweet. So it kind of tells you what to expect. But I'm going to go ahead and open this one up. I bought a 4-pack when I was there, and this is the last one. And I hid it from myself so I wouldn't drink it before tonight.
All right. Now, are you drinking it cold, or is this?
No, it's cold. It's cold.
Good.
Yeah, it's cold. It came out of the fridge right before we started. So, cheers.
Well, cheers. We might have to send our son down to get more for us.
Yeah. I got the last of Holy Bees, which is one that we opened yesterday.
And we can get into this later too, but Holy Bees is an orchard here in Kentucky, and we take their entire yield, and they have these lovely cider specific apple varietals, which if you read the back of this label, you'll be like, what? I've never heard of the horse apple. I've never heard of William's Pride. You know, it's just, they're fanciful and wonderful and historic. And we really nerd out on that stuff.
And that's a very cool part of it.
Yeah.
Is it's not just, well, we got this, juice from somebody and now we're going to put it in a bottle or put it in a can.
Yeah.
And I've heard that apples that are good for eating are not necessarily or not typically good for cider. Is that a fair statement, or is that incorrect?
Yeah, I mean, they're not like mutually exclusive, but for the most part, you know, the apple that's good for cider is going to be really high in tannin and really high in acid. And tannin, which is that astringent mouthfeel that you get when you drink like a really full-bodied red wine, that drying sensation in your mouth.
Feel it back here.
Yeah,
that tannin is great in an alcohol, but if you're biting into an apple, you know, it's probably not super pleasant. And a really high amount of acid, which gives the cider, you know, vibrancy and life. You know, that is great in an alcohol, but also you bite that apple and it's like, you know, you're just gonna pucker right up, and especially if you've got tannin. Crab apples are like the great example. Crab apples make amazing cider, but if you can think about like picking a little tiny crab apple off a tree and eating it, it's like, oh my God, it's a spitter. You spit it out immediately.
Yeah, so all of those apples that most people think are spitters and are called, you know, colloquially spitters would be potentially and probably good candidates for making a great cider. Yeah. Which is not to say that something like the wine sap, which you could actually eat and not spit out.
Yeah,
that's a great cider making apple too. But for the most part, there are these like very, like the spitter quality apples would be great for making cider.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everybody knows how to find you guys. So Instagram and Wisebird Cider and wisebirdcider.com. And you're on Manchester Street in Lexington. And if you're going to Lexington, you're going to know where this is. It's in with the James Pepper Distillery and Elkhorn Tavern. And all kinds of wonderful, wonderful places to visit. Tucked away there in the corner as you first drive in, you just kind of keep going. You don't go to the right and go towards Pepper or Elkhorn. Keep going straight, and right there at the end, that's where they are.
Look for the water tower.
Look for the water tower.
Underneath it to the left.
And so anybody wants to follow you guys on social media, you've got a really nice Instagram account, lots of wonderful information about the cidery on the website. For example, this is the current bottle list. Now nobody's gonna be able to read that, but you've got 13 different ciders if you count the dessert cider, and that's wonderful. I mean, you got a lot to choose from. There's something there that somebody's going to like.
Truly. And we are starting tomorrow or the next day, we will be doing a shipping special. So if you buy 6 or more, you get free shipping. If you're a Cider Club member, you get 4 or more, you get free shipping. But details will be out tomorrow or the next day.
Okay. So tell everybody about the Cider Club, because I need to know about the Cider Club.
Oh, okay. Well, it's awesome. It's such a good deal. It comes out quarterly. It's only $45 a quarter. You get advanced releases. You get access to ciders before they become available to anyone else. If you're local, you can do the pickup in person. And we usually have some type of little party or, meet the cider maker or hors d'oeuvres. And you get advanced access to events in the tap room before other people do. You get a percentage off of those tickets.
It's the Cider Club members always get 10% off at the tap room. And the $45 quarterly fee is the cost. With that, you get 3 bottles of cider
each quarter.
Released each quarter. Yeah. So it's the best deal we offer. And it's, we feel like we talk about it a lot, but it's really for people that are wanting to go on this journey of apple nerdiness with us.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, you found the right nerds.
We can ship this too to 44 states. So it's if you want to spread the love of something made in Kentucky, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And go to wisebirdcider.com for information on the Cider Club too, right?
Yep.
And there'll be notifications on your social media about the shipping deal and all that good stuff. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to get into another cider here. I've got the Harrison, and
speaking of apple nerdiness
and single varietals.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about single varietal.
Yeah. It's, as Greta mentioned earlier, a lot of our ethos around cider making is rooted in using the right apples. And this is an example of an apple that has it's not the highest tannin content apple out there that it's good for making cider, but it's up towards the top, and it's got a fair amount of acid depending on the growing year, and the sugar is generally quite dense, so you can get anywhere between 7.5% to 9% alcohol cider out of it, depending on the season. But it has this beautiful aromatic profile to the fruit, and the apple itself is this yellow skinned apple that has a white flesh, although not like maybe off-white. It's got a little bit of color to it, but once fermented, the color of the cider is always just this really nice amber. And it's interesting because
gorgeous.
The skin is yellow and the fruit's pretty clear, but it makes this really just great amber colored juice and cider.
Now, if I remember correctly, this is an apple that almost was lost to history.
Yes. Yeah, you do remember. Right. The Harrison. So in the late 1700s, in the time in American history where people were drinking 30 plus barrels of cider per capita, the cider was safer than the water. Right. Like Germans hadn't come over and started making beer yet. Harrison was one of the three. There was this trifecta of apples, and Harrison was one of them. And there are reports, historical accounts of bootleggers taking French champagne bottles, filling it with Harrison cider, recapping it, and selling it on the market as French champagne. It's just that amazing quality to it. And after at some point in time, apples, to grow the same apple over and over, you have to propagate it from a first year growth, a clipping of first year growth of a tree. It's like a grapevine. The seeds in the apple are going to have a lot of genetic similarity to its parent, but they're like people, they're going to be different. So to get the exact same one, you have to take a graft cutting off of a tree, or cutting off a tree grafted onto a piece of rootstock, and you can grow the same thing over time. And so sometime around the 70s, the kind of collective of apple hunters at the time, one of whom was Tom Burford, a Virginian, they discovered what they thought was most likely the last living Harrison tree. And, it's like oral history, they're triangulating what someone's grandfather told them, when they were a kid, with, historical maps of where orchards used to be and production records. And, they're just like triangulating as best they can. And a couple of them get together and they say, high likelihood. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So they'll cut some budwood, and they'll go back and graft trees and plant them. And, 5 years later, when they're producing apples, they can come back together and evaluate the fruit with the records that were available to, that we knew about the fruit. And the USDA has this amazing watercolor collection from it's the early beautiful. 1900s, where the government commissioned watercolor drawings of hundreds of apple varietals. And
it's all public domain, I believe.
It's on the public domain. So, so they're just triangulating, and, as best as the experts at the time could do, they all decided that, it is the Harrison. And there's, in recent history, science has allowed us to create some genetic databases where you can actually like start to map and track these things over time. But in the 70s, you know, it was all just based on history.
I mean, heirloom fruit, vegetable produce in general, right? I mean, there used to be a lot more. We used to have more offerings, and it used to taste a lot better than things taste now.
So, when you say single varietal, that means it's just that Harrison apple. Right. So, is it a more common practice to do blends?
You know, in the cider category, there's a bit of a spectrum, where on the kind of mass market side, you've got cider being made from concentrate. Generally, that concentrate is from China or other parts of Europe,
with no particular attention paid to the varietal at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of the Chinese concentrate is Gala.
Okay.
But you're basically you're at that end of the kind of commodity level cider. You're just making a base alcohol from the lowest cost ingredient you can find, that is apple, and in this case it's concentrate. They're just making concentrate,
an alcoholic beverage.
And you're adding pineapple, habanero, or whatever it is,
right?
And that's how, you know, in Kentucky, a lot of the breweries, all the breweries that make cider are making cider from concentrate.
And we're also now showing Tim's, like, he is definitely the cider nerd. He is a traditionalist, and he really cares about cider, and I do too. But I also like fruited cider, which
right. So again, let me just finish the spectrum, because you got the contemporary side on one end, and then you've got on the far other end, you would have like a vineyard where you're growing your own apples and you're pressing those apples and you're making cider from those apples. We're like a little bit into the middle, where we're making cider from apples that we're purchasing from regional growers, either in Kentucky or Virginia or Michigan. But it's real fruit that gets pressed, and that juice, we bring that juice directly to the cidery and ferment it. And sometimes we will blend. This goes that long-winded answer to your question, but
no, it's a good question. Good answer.
Some of that, depending on what we're making, we'll blend apples together, just looking for more of an acid profile.
Holy Bees has been blended.
This is like the nerdy estate. This is the end of the spectrum on the non-commodity level, where every apple grown at this orchard, Holy Bees Orchard, which is just south of Bardstown, Marion County, every apple that they grew in that growing year, we blended together into this one cider.
Okay.
And they're growing about 50 different American and European heirloom cider apples there. It's a super cool orchard. But in the middle would be like the Harrison, where you know, we didn't grow that apple, but we bought it from an orchard that we have a partnership with, and we know that they're taking a lot of care in the quality of their fruit. And we're going to do small batches of that kind of varietal stuff just to highlight that apple. But when we're making, you know, our version of the contemporary style of cider, you know, just a little bit on the other end of center, because we're still using real fruit, you know, we might add, like, you got the Kentucky bramble there, raspberry and blackberry, but
they're real.
We're buying those from an orchard that grows the fruit there near us in Paris, near Paris.
Okay.
But we'll like puree that fruit ourselves and age it on a cider and make our contemporary cider that way. So our approach is, you know, we're apple nerds at our core. We want to use fruit. So we want to use the actual fruit, not just buy bulk.
Yeah. So our version of contemporary cider is still like adhering to these like old school values of making it with real things and not concentrate and not syrups. And then, for example, like our rosé, I think someplace in between traditional and contemporary, insofar as, we add 3% wine to this cider, but
we make
the wine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We make one grape wine a year.
Yeah. For this cider.
From Chamberson, which is a French hybrid varietal that grows really well in Kentucky. Really inky, super high tannin, earthy. It's not a great wine on its own, but when you put 3% of it into a blend of cider, you get this beautiful color, and you get all the nice berry notes from it.
It's a delicious, award-winning cider.
Yeah, award-winning cider. So, and I'll want to get to that in a second, but what's the proper way to taste a cider?
No, I mean, I fell in love with cider, and I'll just go ahead and say this. When I was in France, I was 15 years old. I turned 16 there, but I was drinking alcoholic cider, and I wasn't the only teenager doing so. And so I fell in love with cider and first started tasting it. It was part of the
culture. From the bottle.
No, it was part of the culture. And I think that that's the lovely part of the traditional cider in Europe, is that it used to be, and still is there, so much an everyday part of folks' lives. Here, Tim was referring to cider. People used to drink cider all of the time until Prohibition came along and folks were paid to, cut down apple trees. And so nowadays it's become this, it's not wine, it's not beer, it's a little fancy, but it's still fun. And so, Tim, I turn it over to you on how to taste it properly now, because I don't know if there is a right way to taste it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's situational to some degree. Like,
I mean, we have a cider slushy, and I think that that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you're drinking it out of a can, you're not going to get the same kind of sensory experience as you would if you're pouring it from a bottle into a wine glass. That would be our like the gold standard would be to pour it in a wine glass, because you've got the
smell it,
the tapered rim to push the aromatics into your nose, and you're tasting it like a wine. I mean, it's not as pretentious as wine can be, and it's a perfect glass for it.
A Glencairn that's used in whiskey tastings. You can swirl it. Yeah,
you just want to be able to get your nose in it and enjoy the bouquet, the aromatic profile, along with the flavor.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but it's also like equally crushable in a can. You just don't even think about it; just drink it.
Right. It's very pleasant to drink, and it's
gluten-free. So.
That's why
you can't really nose it out of the can. But let's try this.
Yeah.
So this is the Commonwealth Gold. You can see the color on that.
Yeah.
So pouring it out of the can is a lot better given where we are here. And then this is the Harrison. Yeah. So very dramatic difference.
So I will say, though, that Tim and I have tasted ciders that are the same varietal, grown in different regions, and the color can be completely different because the terroir is so different, because the season has been so different. And that's one thing I think that the nerdy part of us really loves about cider, is that it is actually just like a varietal of grape. It's different wherever you grow it. It's different depending on the seasons, and it makes for a really fun thing to craft.
Yeah. Okay, so let's really nerd out for a second, Tim. So
I think he's identified you as a nerd.
I think you called him that, and so he seemed happy with it. So I'm just leaning into.
I like it. All
right, so this is the Harrison. All right, single varietal Harrison, grown in Kentucky, right?
Grown in Virginia.
That one's
Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay, so. What would a Harrison varietal cider, how could that taste different if the apples were grown somewhere else? We're talking about terroir.
Yeah, I mean, terroir is with apples, I think where you're gonna see the most impact is gonna be in acid and tannin. It's going to be, terroir is probably the more impactful factor would be climate.
Yeah.
Terroir, if depending on your nutrient load, you might get some, ups and downs in tannin and acid, but it's really the weather that's going to dictate the concentration of water in that apple throughout the season that will allow it to concentrate those acids and tannins and the sugars. And so you can get, if you had a lot of rain late in the season, you might have a lower ABV cider. And that's going to dilute the acid and dilute the tannin as well, versus a drier growing season where everything is a little bit more intense. You're going to perceive that intensity in the final product for sure.
Okay. Because people talk about terroir in wine, of course. People talk about terroir in whiskey. I think there's some element of that there, but I think once it gets in the barrel, the terroir from the grain can get diluted over time. But I still think that it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see how dealing with cider, that the same apple from a different region is going to be produce a somewhat different flavor profile in the cider.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I do think you see the impact of terroir more in grape growing than you do in apple growing, but
weather matters.
But weather matters a lot, and you can get a northern spy from upstate New York in the Finger Lakes, like Eve's Cidery makes this brilliantly beautiful northern spy cider, single varietal. It's just it's delicious, and growing northern spy here around, even in Virginia, Kentucky, south of here, North Carolina, you just it doesn't grow as well. You don't get the same intensity of flavor that you do from New York, where it's cold, hardy apple. We're just not getting the right cold days down here, something like that.
And then there's the effect of weather too. Like in winemaking, I think 2005 was this like awesome year for most wines, but 2006 was not. And so across the board in 2005, people love those wines coming out of like pretty much France. You're shaking your head.
I don't know. Yeah, I love it.
This is this great thing. He does this in public. He's like,
and now you've got recorded evidence.
No, I love this. People should look this up on their own. 2005 was a great vintage for wines because of the weather.
Let's get some.
Yeah, let's get some.
All right. I'm making a note.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
Or 2005 just in general, or 2005 in France, or where?
In France and in the United States, it was good. It was a good all-around year because of the global weather, apparently.
If we get this and we don't like it, can we come back to you?
Yes, you may. You can. Here's my email address.
Yeah.
hello@wisebirdcider.com. And the number is 1-800-555-5555.
BR549.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tim, I can definitely see myself trying to locate the same apple, single varietal ciders from different cideries.
Yeah, you should.
From different places. And one of these days I'm going to wander into Wisebird and I'm going to have 4 or 5 bottles, and I'm going to say, okay, Tim, here we go. And
side by side.
And we're gonna do the taste test.
Yeah, we've been a part of that. It was a blind Harrison tasting that Albemarle Cider Works. Are you familiar with them? They're in Virginia.
Yep.
North Garden, Virginia, just south of Charlottesville. But they organized. This was during COVID, actually. Or maybe it was right after COVID, but. Anyway, they got Harrison cider from pretty much everyone in the States that was making it and did a blind tasting. It was super cool. We weren't there, but we watched it, in video form. Our cider was there.
I've just fact checked myself, and I am absolutely correct about the 05 vintage, because it was a year that was particularly warm globally. So all over the US, especially California, Arizona, Nevada, Bordeaux, France, Champagne, France, all of these places we all benefited from a wonderful vintage that year. So 05 red wines, and even in Champagne, not that we have vintages. And
I don't think we'll find any 05 ciders laying around still, but
gosh, but if we do, can we have them?
So that's a good question. How long will a cider keep if it's
not that long?
It's like if you keep it cool and dark, it's gonna lose, the acid's gonna soften over time. But I mean, we had an Eric Bordelais cider, who's a French cider maker, that was over 10 years old, and it was still really amazing. But he's making cider from like super tannic apples, a lot of acid. I mean, it's made to hold up in a bottle. Cider does not need like micro oxygenation to soften tannins over time like a red wine would. So it's, that's why we put like a crown on all of our bottles, not a cork.
Right.
You don't need, we're trying to preserve the acid that's in there. And truly these ciders are best consumed now.
But they'll last for
But they'll last. You could lay it down and 5 years come back to it and it'll still be fine.
In fact, we did that. So when we were first in DC and making all of this cider, we brought a bunch of it to Kentucky with us, and we enjoyed a bottle 2 years ago when we brought some down to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was really cool to taste how well the cider
still holding up.
Yeah.
Right. So now that I've opened these, what do I do to preserve these for at least a little while?
Just do it like you would wine, like put one of those little
pressure things,
and then get the.
Okay. I'm having friends over Friday night, and I'm going to do some cider cocktails.
Just get the oxygen out of there.
You'll lose carbonation before it will go bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that Kentucky Bramble is so delicious. Are you about to try that?
That's what I've got right here is Kentucky Bramble. So tell us about Kentucky Bramble.
Kentucky Bramble is definitely a contemporary cider. Tim was saying that we use locally sourced real fruit. This is from Stepping Stone Farms in Cynthiana. It's real raspberries, real blackberries, and this is a cider that I didn't, I too, even though I like cider slushies, I'm a traditionalist. And so, doing fruited ciders is always. Sometimes I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like this. That cider is so damn good. It is delicious.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You can still taste like what makes a cider, but you can also taste the freshness of the raspberries, the freshness of the blackberries. I think it is one of our delicious ciders out there. It flew off our shelves. It was. I mean, we
definitely underproduced on that one.
Yep. How do you like it?
Popular.
I love it. I love it. I had I was actually in Knoxville I don't know, a couple months ago, and went by a gypsy circus.
I
believe it's called. And they had a blackberry cider, and it was fantastic.
I would love to taste that.
Yeah. Okay. And they had what they called a gin cider.
Like aged in a gin barrel?
I don't know.
I love gin. I would taste that cider.
It was fantastic. But I don't. My question:
does gin come in a barrel?
Not commonly.
No, not. But you can barrel age it. But my question, and these were just very good servers at the bar there. I couldn't talk to anybody that made it, but my question was, okay, how traditional is a gin cider? But it was really, really good. But this is quite fantastic. So
writing this down on my whiteboard. Gin cider.
Okay. You can research that like you did the 05.
I know.
Lines.
No, Gypsy Circus is we've not been there, but they're a really well respected, award winning cidery. I'm curious to know they're doing that with that. There was there's a cidery out of Vermont called Shacksbury, which is a cider that we really love and respect, and they make a cider called the Vermonter, which is cider aged in a gin barrel. So there's a distillery near them that barrel ages gin, and then they get the barrels and make the cider. And it tastes like gin. I mean, it's really cool.
Shacksbury is just in this wonderful world where, it's very close to so many places that grow just wonderful apples. Like they are in the mecca of where you want to be, cidery.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little music. You mentioned some bluegrass, and now you're pointing at Tim. So, am I sensing a music background there?
Yeah.
Well, Tim has the family band. I mean, we have.
I come from a musical family.
His father is a professional musician. He had the only traveling bluegrass band in Mexico and all.
No. We were the best.
The best. Oh, I'm sorry. He plays the upright bass.
And
the only. Yeah. So definitely a very musical family. We're going to Thanksgiving with his extended family, and there's always singing and scream singing, but most of it's bluegrass, a lot of country, which I enjoy. I enjoy both of it, but go on, Tim.
No,
yeah.
So Tim, you grew up in a musical family. Then your parents play, your aunts and uncles, or how did that work?
Yeah, aunts, uncles, grandmother.
My dad was a rock and roll guitar player in the 70s.
What was the name of that band?
I mean, he had a lot of.
We won't say it.
They were all. They had a theme to their band names: the Throbs, the Penetrators.
A lot of tight jeans were worn, and there was a lot of long hair.
But on my mom's side, my mom's side of the family is from a small town in southern West Virginia, and my grandmother grew up in a household where they're always playing show tunes on the piano, and she played the guitar and played the tipple, which is like a kind of like a mandolin but with double strings, like a 12-string guitar would be.
Wow.
And one day, I don't remember what the cause of this was, but one day she pulls out from underneath her bed her Uncle Boxy's old mandolin and gives it to my dad and says, "You should learn to play this." And
he did.
He was. I think I was in my early 20s, or I don't know, late teenager or something, but he started, messing around and learning how to play the mandolin. And he's, my dad's definitely a musically inclined person, and it didn't take him long to really figure out how to play the mandolin. So we started, learning bluegrass songs to be able to play and sing together. And
so last week was Kentucky Cider Week here in Kentucky, and the crowning event is at our cidery called Cider Fest. We do a wonderful tasting, but I worked that entire event while Tim went with our boys to this soccer tournament. And usually I'm in the car with the boys. So the next day I'm in the car with the boys, and my eldest says, "Mom, can you play me like that Ricky Skaggs song?" What are you talking about?
That's awesome.
That one about Jesus. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I texted Tim, "What have you done, man?"
Good job, Tim. That's awesome.
Sings like all of these bluegrass tunes.
It was a Sunday, and
were you listening to Sunday bluegrass from
Ricky Skaggs and Tony Rice did this
yeah.
album probably in the 70s or 80s called Skaggs and Rice, and it's just a whole album of gospel songs.
Talk about music.
Yeah, this one in particular is just a vocal harmony with the two of them. It's really
And so my
really
son,
cool.
who hasn't been to church a day in his life, who he basically calls churches, he's like, hey, look at that castle, Mom. We're going to get around to Bible study at some point, but he's like, talk about Jesus. And I'm like, this is my son who just came back from a 2-day soccer trip, and now he's an evangelist.
God bless Ricky Skaggs.
I know, seriously. And Tony Rice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're in a band now, Tim?
No, not now. You were referring to the band that I had in Mexico.
Tim lived in Mexico
for about a decade, and me and these other two Americans
brought the love of bluegrass to Latin America.
I found out through a friend of a friend of a friend that these two Americans that were playing bluegrass music together, and so I got in touch with them and showed up at their apartment one day, and
with a guitar.
They're like, oh, so you play bluegrass? I was like, yeah, and they're like, well, we already have a guitar player. Like, okay, well, what don't you have? And they're like, we need a bass player. He's like, all right, I've never played bass before, and I don't have a bass. And they're like, don't worry, we got a bass right over here. Take it home with you. Call us back when you figured out how to play, and we'll get together.
And honestly, like Tim's ability for attention for detail, like just getting stuff done, that's honestly like how we were able to start the cidery. He sets his mind on something. He's very detail oriented. You know, he's the guy that has the IKEA directions, and he's actually reading them and not just looking at the pictures.
I think they have words anymore, do they?
No, it's just like pictures. Anyway, but he got the cidery started. He saw us through COVID and the intricacies of, you know, applying for all of the loans that kept us in business, and we wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And he plays the bass now.
And Greta has pushed my traditionalist views on cider into the contemporary, which is why we make a Kentucky Bramble.
There you go.
Exactly.
Before we opened,
good job, Greta.
Right before we opened, Greta was like, "We need to get a slushy machine."
True.
It was the summer. We opened in June, and I was like, "No,
hell no!" Is what
not
he
in
said.
a million years. Over my dead body, will you put my like fine cider into a slushy machine and oxygenate it and rough it all up?"
But we did.
And I lost that argument. within about a year, we owned 2 slushy machines.
Yeah, we did the first slushy machine within the first like 2 weekends.
Well, we do like to claim that we were the first people to make a rosé slushy.
Yeah, we were
in Lexington.
Yes. And nobody was doing slushies in Lexington until we did it. But we moved from another.
Fact check that one.
Yeah, no, I will fact check.
So far, she's betting 1,000 with that.
I know. Well, don't worry. I'm used to losing those arguments.
I understand.
I may seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I hate being wrong, so I don't want to say wrong things. But I am hyperbolic, so.
That's awesome. So, what is the music that brought you together? Is there a Tim and Greta song?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Or first dance at the wedding, or something of that nature?
All of the above.
Yeah.
We love Hayes Carl.
Guy Clark.
Yeah, we love Guy Clark is our wedding song.
That's why I said it.
Who's the guy with the thick tongue? Remember? Oh gosh. We went to his concert. Robert Earl Keen.
Yeah,
love us some Robert Earl Keen.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, we like Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, Greta was really into like
old school country.
Yeah, like outlaw country.
Well, it's because
old outlaw country.
Okay, so Willie Nelson. I actually met Willie Nelson, and I'm not a type of person that ever likes to line up to go see people. I would prefer to, be lost in the crowd. But I was living in Austin and went to see Willie Nelson, and my boyfriend at the time was like, let's go back and meet him. and we were standing in this line with all of these, like, what I considered elderly ladies at the time, which probably meant they're my age now. And so, and Willie Nelson was just such a charmer. He standing outside his, palatial trailer truck thingamabob, and he was just talking to people. And when he got to me, he's like, "Hey, are you coming to tomorrow night's show?" And I looked at him and I said, yes, I am. And my boyfriend at the time said, no, we're not. He gave me a big kiss. It was awesome. We did not have tickets. But yes, I did want to go back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great.
Love him. He's awesome.
So old school country and bluegrass. That fits in Lexington pretty well, right?
Yeah. I also love classical music, and I do love like Euro dance music. Tim hates it though.
Euro dance music.
But mostly she likes karaoke.
I do love the ancient art of karaoke.
Okay. Well, is there a karaoke machine at the cidery? I don't remember seeing one there.
Right downstairs, though.
Oh, okay,
we've gone through like 2 or 3 karaoke machines because they are well loved and well used. We do table karaoke, stand up karaoke, all the karaoke here.
Alcohol before karaoke is usually a must.
That's a requirement.
Yeah.
So what's the go-to karaoke song then? You got one. You're at a big karaoke bar. You got one shot. What's the song?
Oh, so with karaoke, I'm like a White Snake person or Downtown Train, or I'm like cheesy. Tim is different.
No. She's mine? You're being coy. Your karaoke song.
Tim has to.
Hungry Like the Wolf.
Oh, I do love Greta.
Awesome.
Greta will get on hands and knees.
I'm on.
She will enter from off stage.
I smell like the sound. Yeah, but I do. If you're hungry like the wolf, you have to like be a wolf.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you're bringing quite a stage presence to your karaoke game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's in the safety of my own home. Usually.
What's your karaoke song, Kevin?
Yeah, dude.
I don't karaoke a lot.
When you
but if it's always terrible. But
so is mine.
It's iconic. It's Prince's version of Kiss.
Oh, nice.
I get into that terrible. Well, for him it's fantastic, but for me it's a terrible high falsetto, and I do the, that. Yeah. So
but do you put your 100% heart into it?
Yes.
I love that. So that is the key to success. Yeah.
Well, look, if you're going to do it and you're going to be bad, be all the way bad. Don't.
So my stepfather,
half-ass bad.
My stepfather used to say, "Be incorrect, but never indecisive."
That's right. Like, or just be decisive and
always correct.
And be correct, like 05 vintage wines.
Look just like me.
Right.
I'm wrong all the time, and
So, what music do you have? Music at the cidery?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay.
We kind of adopted a policy a long time ago where
we let
the bar team choose what they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes that works, and other times we have to go.
If you're having a sad day, don't play your sad music.
Right? It's like
right.
Not the mood. Don't play the music to your mood necessarily. Play music that you like, that you think is going to match the energy of the customer crowd.
Plus, like our philosophy about having a place where people go and spend their hard-earned money. It's listen. We've got to have awesome stuff for people to taste. They need to like it. If there's something wrong, we want to know about it. We want to make it better. And it applies to the music too. Like the music has to be additive and not, a downer.
Right. But the default is country and bluegrass.
Sometimes.
Like if you have to default to something.
Oh yeah, like if people don't want to make up their own minds, like, hey, play some, yeah.
You both kinds of music, country and western.
Yeah,
that's right.
To quote the Blues Brothers, yeah.
That's right.
Country and western.
Yeah.
6 and 7.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't.
I hate that. Like, what is it?
What are you doing?
Nobody knows, but your kids are the age that I'm sure you hear that a lot. Yeah. Condolences.
Yeah, I
know. But no, I mean, because if I'm in charge of the playlist, I'll give you some hits, but I want to give you some deep cuts too.
Oh, you should come DJ.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. But if you're running a public establishment, you kind of have to feed them the hits.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. And you don't want people trying to guess, well, that sounds familiar, but I don't know the song. Or, you just you want people, singing along, at least in their head as they're sipping their cider. And so, yeah, I like I said, I would sprinkle in a fair number of deep cuts and things that people wouldn't know. But
well, it's like every now and again, you got to throw in a dry single varietal cider. To balance all that
exactly.
cider.
In between the modern ciders, the contemporary ciders, you got to throw in. I like to call them now library ciders.
So, if you're tasting cider, and I'm still pretty much a novice at it, how do I tell what's good and what's not good? In terms, I mean, you like what you like, and yeah, I get that, but you also need to be able to determine, okay, what's quality and what's not.
I'm going to let Tim answer this because I am with you like what you like. Yeah. Just try to like open up your mind to name it. Like, what are you tasting? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What memories does it bring up for you? But I think Tim has the vocabulary of a cider maker.
That's right. I mean, it's everyone's palate is different. It's all very subjective as well. If I tell you, oh, this cider is awesome, you're gonna try it, and chances are you're gonna be like, yeah, that is really good.
That's awesome. Yes.
So
try it alone.
There are obviously like faults in cider, like there are in wine and spirits and beer,
right?
And those would be qualitative, like well-defined sensory faults. But for the most part, you're not going to find that in cider that's out there in the market. I think you're looking for, this is something that I enjoy drinking. Does it make me feel good? Does it taste good?
How do I feel after?
Right. So what the cider traditionalists think about Angry Orchard?
Okay, Tim. Say something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a fine cider. Listen, Angry Orchard. I don't want to generalize their whole brand.
Yeah,
because they make out of where are they? It's like Waterford or something, New York. They have a very high-end line of experimental exploratory ciders where they're making like traditional method cider, but it's under the Angry Orchard brand. So I don't want to generalize everything they do, but what you see in the grocery store for the most part, in the 6-pack glass bottles, that's
well, they're giving people
best,
what they
it's
want.
Commodity cider.
It's commodity cider.
It is the macro beer of cider. It's
right.
Or Miller Lite or Coors.
Right.
So we are also the country that drinks more soda pop, Coke, Pepsi,
right.
more products with like sugar in it than you can shake a stick at. So in some ways, like Angry Orchard is giving people
it's a gateway.
Yeah, it's a gateway drug. And so the fact that they even have those ciders that are different than the mainstay of Angry Orchard is, I think, a really cool thing. So kudos to them for doing that. Yeah. But if you wanted to try like Eve Cidery, like Foggy Ridge, which is now just an orchard, no longer a cidery. There are just some fantastic, like wonderful ciders out there that are more like we are, but we're just making, like, we're very craft.
Mm-hmm.
We're very small. We're small batch. And Angry Orchard is doing something that, gosh, I wish we could do. Like, they have a lot of money, a huge footprint. They're national. It's really different than
Mm-hmm.
these little places that we talk about and love.
Yeah. At some point, you become a factory.
I mean, we are a manufacturing factory. We're
you are, but it's,
you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean you lose your soul in a sense, or you
lose that
pumping out widgets at the end of the day. You don't really
right.
We never want to pump out widgets, but we do.
Right.
I would like to get bigger. I feel like, we love apples. We want to be, and we love Kentucky. We want to be the bedrock of Kentucky craft made from apples.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nobody else here in Kentucky that is doing what we are doing. And I think we want to, dominate Kentucky and like let people know what alcoholic beverages made from apple taste like. I think we want to do that regionally. I think we want to do that in select markets nationally. And we really care about what we do. We love tasting what we do and drinking what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going down a different path.
Yeah, no, but that's kind of the path that I want to take us towards next is what's next for Wisebird. What's the vision, the 5-year plan, and you've got a great space where you are.
Yeah.
But I was there. It was a lovely Saturday afternoon, so the tasting room was fairly packed. Well, when we got there, it wasn't that crowded, but by the time we left, I think the dinner rush had come in because we spent 3 or 4 hours talking to Kel. No, it wasn't that long, but we did get the whole tour and got to go back and see your storage areas and where you bottle, and you're running out of space.
We doubled the size of our production facility 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And, we were at the time making about 8,000 gallons of cider in production a year. And this year we're on track to be around 18,000.
But we have the capacity for almost double that.
Theoretically, we could still double within that footprint. But, as you saw, it's tight, and it's that puzzle just gets harder and harder for Kellen to figure out the more volume we're producing at a time. And like the future is probably looking like some SKU rationalization. We've got 13 to 16 ciders on at any time. It's hard to make 16 ciders when you're doing it at that volume within our space constraints. So, I think, as Greta was saying, part of our 5-year plan is just getting more people to drink more cider.
Yep, for sure.
Where our distribution footprint is statewide, but it's mostly central Kentucky, and a little bit in Louisville, a little bit here and there in markets around.
And we have diehard fans who order, and they live in California, and they live in New York, they live in Chicago, they live in these wonderful places, but they're just sporadic. So I think, as we continue to grow, I think those areas that truly care about craft, care about the way things are made, will want to continue to, get more of our product to those areas.
Yeah. The craft element of it is very appealing to me, and I think a lot of the people that watch this show are into craft whiskeys, and so they understand the care that goes into selecting grains and distillation methods and what yeast is used and how it's matured and all of those little things, all those nuances and minute attention to details That was something that, as I went on the tour and as I tasted everything that day, I could see that attention to detail and focus on the nuances and on the history of it really came through. And so I think there's a sister market for you in tapping into some of these craft whiskey people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. We need to. Well, this is a different show, but you should come back and we'll taste you on all of our. We've done just like a little collection of barrel aged ciders recently. Mm-hmm. We probably won't do them to the same extent that we've done them this year, but you should come back and taste those because they're
I'd love to.
Very interesting.
Would love to.
Yeah, and the Pommeau is
yes.
If we can segue to that, this is a fortified cider, so just kind of into the realm of spirits. We distill, we make a cider. The eau de vie that we distill for this is distilled for us from Barrel House Distilling across the parking lot from us.
Great people.
So this ends up being about 30% spirit, 70% apple juice, aged in a bourbon barrel for anywhere from 12 to 24 months, depending on
what it tastes like,
what we're doing, and when we need to bottle it and how it's tasting. So it's 19% alcohol, 10% residual sugar. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's a dessert. It's a dessert wine.
Yeah.
But like this, we think of like this kind of product as when Greta says we want to be the bedrock of Kentucky craft alcohol made from apples. Like,
this is part of our family of beverages that we want to showcase. I mean, even the eau de vie. If you smell the eau de vie, did I run out and give you guys a smell of the eau de vie at that point? I was all over the map that day.
I don't think so.
Well, when you come back, like we have a couple different samples of the eau de vie, and you can still smell apple on it, which is so crazy. I just find that such an interesting, like, we love apples in this family. Clearly, it's just such a robust smell. I'm very sensitive to smells, so smelling the apple on an eau de vie, I was like, oh, my little baby's still there.
It really is.
Yeah. So I do have this one. I'm not going to open this bottle tonight. I have a friend who's a distiller, who's very much a traditionalist, very much into apple brandies, and this is something that I'll taste with him before too long. But when I'm back, I'll get another bottle.
Awesome.
Because it was fantastic, just very, very unique. And that's one of the things is there's 13 different things, and again, nobody can see this, but it's on your website. 13 different choices of ciders. There's going to be something there that everybody is going to find something that they like, if not multiple somethings that you like. And so it's a wonderful experience, and I think you guys are doing a really great job with it. And being an evangelist for cider in general. And,
that's truly what we are.
Kevin, thank you so much for giving us this support. It really means the world to us. We love the community here, and we love hearing from people who like cider, and this is what makes our jobs just such a joy, is talking to people like you about not just apple-based craft beverage, but also what you love, bourbon.
Well, while we're on the subject, any particular bourbons that you like?
Oh, this is a Tim and his mom question. Tim's mom is like,
it's not big into the bourbons.
I like it fine. I just can't drink much of it, So I try to lay off. But Tim and his mom,
gosh,
don't get me started.
I wasn't prepared for that question.
Tim's mom will come in and she'll say, Greta, do you need to fix me a drink? And I'm like, yep, I need to fix you a drink.
I mean, I found a bottle of E.H. Taylor recently.
I've
been drinking. I like that. That's been hard to come by.
It's very good.
We were spoiled in DC. There was just this one bottle shop that we made friends with, and that guy had so many like bourbons that, you know, moving to Kentucky, we thought, oh my gosh, Tim's mom, we're gonna lure her here. We can't get all the, you know, at the local.
You know, Forbidden.
Yeah,
Mary Hughes, that's a fun bourbon. We're actually aging a Pommeau in one of her bourbon barrels, which will come out.
Marianne Eves,
2 years in on that right now, so I don't know when we're going to release that, but that'll be cool.
And she's lovely, talented. If you guys don't know about her, it's Forbidden. She's just a fantastic bourbon maker.
Well, your neighbors are they make some pretty good bourbon.
Oh gosh, yeah, we have awesome neighbors.
Barrel House, the Rock Castle bourbon is just terrific, and the Barrel House barrel strength stuff is awesome. And James Pepper now producing their own distillate. Just really, really good. Yeah, very good stuff.
Are great.
And they have a really cool facility too. I like it over there.
Yeah. We age our flagship bourbon barrel aged cider in their pepper barrel, in those James Pepper bourbon barrels.
Rick House, we call it.
We call it the Rick House, and that was something we did from very early on, like that first year we opened, because we wanted to have. We thought it would be cool to have James Pepper bourbon barrels in the original James Pepper Rick House. For the first time in 50 years, it just had our cider in it.
Well, Tim and one of the folks from Pepper rolled a barrel from across the parking lot on some of those cold cideries. So it was kind of a cool moment, because we were in the original. Well, we're in not the original Rick House, but we're in one of the Rick Houses.
Yeah.
Hence the name Rick House for our cider.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, I've kept you for a while. I know that your kids are. They're probably avoiding going to bed. So
listen, they have a babysitter, and if they are not asleep, this is
the babysitter's in trouble then.
Exactly.
But I really appreciate your time. It's been fantastic to talk with you.
So email me when you come back, because we'll.
I will.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I will. And if you don't mind, I'll email you from time to time with questions about, hey, I've found this here. What do you know about it? And then I'll definitely be back before too long, and
we'll exchange cell phone numbers, because Tim is faster on text than he is on email these days.
Okay, all right, that sounds good to me. I will. My cell is on the bottom of my email, but I'll send it to you anyway. So, all right. So again, where everyone can find you, tell us about your Instagram and your webpage.
We're wisebirdcider.com, and our Instagram is wisebirdcider. We update a lot there. So, and then if you need to get in touch with us, it's hello@wisebirdcider.com.
Hello.
I check that, so it's going to come to me.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you both very much. It's been a pleasure, and a lot of great information, and really respect what you guys are doing, as well as enjoying it. Cheers.
Well,
Kevin,
cheers
thank you.
Kevin. Thanks
Here's
for having us
you.
on the program.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right.
And thanks, guys, for watching.